Welcome to Newark in Nottinghamshire, the front line of the Tory-UKIP death match. After the surge of UKIP in the European elections last week, the government are hoping to give Nigel Farage a bloody nose. Meanwhile, UKIP are hoping to pop the Tory balloon. What is immediately clear is the Tories are throwing the kitchen sink at this campaign. They're out and about absolutely everywhere and the machine is in full swing. Meanwhile, UKIP seem to be focusing their efforts on the town centre, and their activists are sorely lacking. In order to find out what's really going on, I met up with the candidates, the nice if slightly dull Robert Jenrick, and the colourful and rather old Roger Helmer. Are you going to win?
Well, I hope so. Obviously we're not taking anything for granted. It's a by-election is always unpredictable, and this is a seat which was held by Labour from 1997 to 2001. There have been some changes since then, but it's not one of those seats which is always Conservative.
So Roger, are you going to win?
We think we're in with a very good chance of winning. I think I'd be a bit rash to say we're going to win, but we think we can win.
Do you think that the European elections have had an effect on your support so far?
I think they've had a dramatic effect. You could actually feel it in the streets the morning when, well, not so much the European, but the local elections, and the news was full of UKIP's extraordinary successes in the local elections. What
I think I do offer is I'm someone who's never worked in politics. I'm not a career politician. I've always had jobs in, whether that's as a business lawyer or running a business. So I come to politics from a slightly different perspective to some of the other candidates who've spent their whole careers in politics, or a big chunk of them.
Do you think that you could have a better chance if Nigel was running in this campaign and being the local candidate? Well, candidate.
I mean, Nigel has that sort of enormous box office presence. I'm sure he would do a better job than I would do.
I mean, you're happening right at the centre of this. I mean, the letter is from Nigel. It doesn't mention that you're an MEP as well. Is there any particular reason for that?
Well, no, obviously Nigel is the biggest face and the biggest asset of the party.
You say you're not a career politician. You stood in Newcastle-under-Lyme in 2010. You tried to stand in Croydon this time round. Now you're in Newark. You're a bit of a carpetbagger, though, aren't you?
I don't think so. I mean, what I've done since being selected was, I'm married, 2 kids. We have committed to making a life here, basing our family here.
You got a house here?
We have. We're living in Southwell, which is another town in the constituency.
It's true that your taxpayer-funded assistant, Francesca, is helping you out with this campaign.
My taxpayer-funded assistant is helping me to continue to do my work as an MEP during the time when I am here and not in Brussels.
Is she an Italian citizen then?
She is an Italian citizen.
Did you not find an appropriate British person to do that job, given the UKIP's message that we should have British jobs first?
Well, no, our message is that we should have controlled immigration. We stand by that. That doesn't mean we're anti-foreigner. It doesn't mean that we criticise people for hiring Europeans or non-Europeans.
What's Vincent Square Properties? You're registered as a director of that. Is that a business you've set up?
No, it's a way of doing a renovation of a house for us.
Tax efficient way?
No, not at all.
But the unemployment figures in this country would suggest that there are people looking for work here, and the central message of the European election campaign was that British people should come first. I don't understand what selection process was there for your assistant.
You're trying to force me to say that I'm prejudiced against foreigners.
I'm not trying to force you to say that.
I hired her at a time when I thought I was probably leaving the Parliament, and I offered her a job for 3 months, which she accepted. She's done incredibly well. She's one of the best assistants I've ever had. I am extremely happy with her work, and for that reason I'm not going to change.
So we have an antique here we'd like you to value. Would that be alright? It's a very rare and unique one-off antique. But what price would you put on this one limited edition Victory Toby jug? Do you think it will go up in value next week? Or?
Highly collectible. Christie's has a term for things like this, which is no auction value.
Are you pleased to see UKIP's first gay MEP?
I am extremely happy. I've met David Coburn. I went up to support him, and I'm hoping very much he'll be down here to support me very shortly.
Don't still think that homosexuality is abnormal and undesirable?
I think David Coburn is going to be an excellent Scottish MEP, and I am delighted that we've got a Scottish MEP.
On the subject, while we're on the subject of UKIP, Europe, in or out?
Well, I've always been a Eurosceptic. I've been pretty consistent about that over the years. I think Europe isn't working. I feel that even more so having worked in business, where I've seen the effects of some European regulations. The business I work in today is heavily regulated and has quite a negative effect on it. I think the Prime Minister will be successful in renegotiating the relationship, and I hope we can stay in Europe, but a changed Europe from the one we're in today.
You said that people find homosexuality distasteful, if not viscerally repugnant.
I said that some people take that view.
Are you one of those people?
No, I'm not.
Thank you very much. Cheers.